The folks within the administration, the Biden administration, who talk on a non-attributable basis or anonymously to various reporters, these people are saying they're familiar with the investigation of Mar-A-Lago and Trump's Winter Palace and nest of vermin down there. And the sources are being told, at ABC anyway, are being told that the amount and the sensitivity of the confidential, secret, and top secret documents discovered at the Orange Vomit's nest, the quality of those documents are raising critical national security questions that have got to be addressed. I mean, I've said before, I have no doubt at all in my mind why the Orange Vomit took these documents. None. Trump is a cheat, a liar, a sneak, and above all, a grifter. That's his M.O. It always has been. He learned it from his filthy father and the rest of the racist pigs that made up his nuclear family. And he's passed it on to the racist pigs that are now the next generation of Trump scum. But given that, and it is true, the only reason Trump would take documents would be so at some point he could either use them as bargaining chips against his own government or bargaining chips with a foreign government who would like to know some of the top secret goings-on in the United States in exchange for money or favors or whatever Trump would want. Maybe political asylum, right? But the fact that national security has been compromised by this filthy son of a bitch, this is what the Justice Department, the FBI, the Biden administration are concerned about. And of course, his scum-sucking followers, they couldn't care less. To them, it's just a big hoot. So these officials within the Biden administration are now telling sources that law enforcement and security officials now have got to try to track the chain of custody of that material. Who had their filthy hands on it within the Trump nest? Who packed up the boxes? Who moved the boxes to a vehicle to get down to the Winter Palace? Who unloaded the boxes? Who stashed the boxes wherever they were stashed? Who reached their filthy fucking hands inside the boxes and took out the documents? That's called the chain of custody. And now the law enforcement in this country has to track that down to try to determine if any of this stuff was compromised. You know, did one of these scum who was transporting this stuff, did they, when they were moving it from box to box or into Trump's safe or wherever, did they take a look at what they were moving and say, hey, this looks pretty good. I think I'll photocopy this and keep a copy? Because everybody who has ever worked for Trump, with the exception of some of the military people who were there for reasons, but they're all fucking liars, grifters, thugs, sneaks, snakes, son of a bitches. I don't care how many of them turn now. They knew what Trump was, and they knew why they were going to work for him. So some of the law enforcement officials, government officials acknowledge that all these questions about the chain of custody of these documents need to be addressed. Because what I've said a couple of times ever since we found out about this, the materials, whatever it is, would be of great value to foreign adversaries and even allies. Think the trove of documents that was released in the WikiLeaks event, right? So how is law enforcement going to handle this? Well, it's anticipated there'll be interviews with Trump scum, and authorities may, the government authorities, legitimate authorities may even check for fingerprints on the documents that they've taken back to see if that provides any insight into who had access. Now, will there be fingerprints? Of course. You know, everybody who works for Trump is a fucking liar and a sneak and a fool. So do you suppose they put on plastic gloves when they move this stuff? Of course not. Of course not. The FBI warrant and that list of inventory about what they were going after the warrant contained 11 sets. Now, how many are in a set? We don't know, but 11 sets of sensitive information. And that's what was recovered during the Mar-A-Lago search. And like I mentioned, like we all know now, those recoveries included confidential, secret, and top secret documents. And there was even what I have learned from ABC News. There was even top secret, and then something called SCI material. That's sensitive, compartmented information. And that classification of materials involves nuclear secrets. Yeah, we have them, don't we? And terrorism operations and all sorts of shit. And it's all based, that information is based on a DNI, Director of National Intelligence, overview of security protocols, what would be in this sensitive information that ABC News has reviewed, has taken a look at it. Now, ABC News doesn't know specifically what documents, but this is a type of documents that go into the SCI material, sensitive, compartmented information. Apparently, that is the most classified category. Well, I would hope to goddamn shout if it contains information about nuclear weapons and the fact that this country, as well as about 9 other countries, are hell-bent on eliminating the human species and all life on Earth. When the day finally comes when some fool will set the spark off and we will all be blown away. Remember that song? We can be thankful and tranquil and proud, for man's been endowed with a mushroom-shaped cloud, and we can be certain that some lovely day, someone will set the spark off, and we will all be blown away. Remember that song from, when was it, the 60s? Was that the Kingston Trio? Probably. Scary shit. Now, these top secret SCI documents are classified as national intelligence, and they involve intelligence information, quote, concerning or deriving from intelligence sources. And this is the kind of material that may come into the hands of the U.S. government from allies, from spying, from eavesdropping, from informants, and any adversary of ours who got their hands on this list of people who would be considered informants. Imagine what could happen to them. Say if they were Iranian or Chinese or Russian or French or Italian or Spanish or Portuguese or Brazilian or Canadian, right down the list. You can bet your ass that the United States intelligence operation has informants working within every government on Earth. You know that as well as I do. So, if this list of people was exposed, I doubt if the French found out that we were spying on them, if they had the name of the person providing the information, I don't think they would take him to the guillotine immediately, but there are certain countries who would do that. And according to regulations, and this is the kind of shit that the Trump animal totally ignores, but this top secret SCI material, sensitive, compartmented information, the sensitive SCI material should only be handled under the strictest of conditions in secure designated locations. I mean, you can't just take them out and take them to the lunchroom and have a peanut butter sandwich while you go through the box. I mean, you can't do that. If you have access by your security classification. If you have access to these materials, yeah, okay, you can, as the situation warrants it, you can look at them. But you have to look at these documents in a place that is designated as super secure. And of course, I'm sure the bar at Mar-A-Lago doesn't qualify for that, right? These locations are supposed to be set up so that there can't be any eavesdropping, no electronic devices inside, so on and so forth. And only a select few of people working within a specific government of the United States are ever allowed to view SCI. For example, a category of a need to know is required. If you're not in that category, and I'm sure that varies from subject to subject, I need to know about sabotage we're planning against the Chinese where it concerns their rice paddies. I need to know about nuclear weapons that we are developing and nobody knows about. I need to know. You see what I mean? If you have a legitimate need to know, now you have to back that I need to know up with some kind of proof. But so why the concern? That's kind of a laughable question, but why the concern about the sensitivity of these documents that the Orange Vomit had? Well, putting it pretty bluntly, U.S. officials know that these kinds of documents are targeted by enemy nations and other adversaries who are constantly trying to eavesdrop on what we're doing here, just like we do to them. I mean, the human race is just a fucking hoot, aren't we? I'll eavesdrop on you, and I'm going to do everything I can to prevent you from eavesdropping on me, but I know you will anyway, so as long as we're sharing information, what the fuck are we doing it in such a secretive way? Oh, that's right, because I hate you, and I may decide to turn you into radioactive dust at some point, but Jesus Christ. So the bottom line on all this, I'm sure you know this, loss of this information that the Trump scum took, the information classified as confidential or any of those particular classifications, would damage national security. And loss of secret documents would cause serious damage to national security. And the top secret material, if shared as Trump would, he doesn't give a fuck. He's so ignorant, and he'll sell anything. He'd sell his own mother's ass if he thought he could gain something by it. But the compromise of the top secret material creates the potential for, quote, exceptionally grave damage to the national security. See those categories? Damage to national security. Serious damage to the national security. Exceptionally grave damage to the national security. Woo! And the Orange Vomit had his filthy fucking meat hooks on this stuff. I mean, it's just staggering that a scum like Trump had access to this stuff. Jesus. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.